Well, good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Now, have you guys heard about this story coming out of my hometown, Salinas, California? Salinas Califas. Remember that movie, Salina, where they got into an accident with those guys and the dude says, "Hey, can I keep the bumper? I'm going to put it in my shop and it's going to say, my bumper got ripped off by Salinas." So Salinas, California, heavily agricultural. If lettuce, carrots, strawberries, celery, onions, you name it, if it's in your crisper, it probably came from Salinas, California. But there's a story about a young lady, a young black girl, that'll play into the story later. But a young black girl, she's going for the state title for the 400-meter race, which is one full lap around the track. And when she was done, because she won the race, and I believe she would have gotten the state title after that, there was an American track star, I think it's Maurice Green, and when he beat the record, one of his buddies or coach or whoever came out on the track, and it actually looked kind of cool. He took his shoes off, he took them off real fast like they were hot, and he dropped them on the ground, and his buddy comes over and sprays his cleats with a fire extinguisher. I thought that shit was cool. This girl, this 16-year-old sophomore girl at a school called North Salinas High, and I went to North County, which was in a town, a couple towns away in Castroville, California, and we played against North Salinas High, and I was on the track team back then, throwing shot put and discus, and the father in this case, his name's David Adams, I actually knew him. We weren't super close, we knew some of the same people, saw each other at the track meets or whatever. But his daughter is the girl in question, or involved in the incident in question. So she does the same thing. She wins the race, and her dad comes out with a fire extinguisher, sprays her feet with the fire extinguisher. She didn't even do it right. What made it cool when it was originally done by Maurice Green is that he took them off like they were hot and he stepped away from them, and then they sprayed them. But her dad just came out and sprayed her cleats with a fire extinguisher while they were still on her feet. So she didn't even do it right. But when they did that, that's unsportsmanlike, and they took her title from her, and they banned her from running in the 200-meter later on. Now, some people will say that's very harsh. They shouldn't have done that. Give the girl a chance. But she did know the rules. When you're to this level where you're going for state titles, you know all of the ins and outs of track, what's acceptable, what's not. And then you throw into that her dad was also a track star, so they definitely knew the ins and outs, the rights and wrongs of what's allowed on the track. So they took the girl's title. And so what I'm looking for, and I haven't seen it yet, but I have a feeling it's coming, is the racial angle. And I don't say that just because a black girl is involved. I say that because her dad is involved, because her dad, a couple years ago, at another high school, I believe it was Salinas High, in the same town, there were these kids who had a black baby doll, and the kids were passing it around, and they would make TikTok videos with the baby doll, and somebody put a noose on it, somebody wrote nigger on it, stupid ass same race hoax bullshit. So her dad was at the school board meeting, and all these black students are getting up there, and you're not protecting us, and we feel unsafe as black students, and this is racist, and how could you allow this, and racism, and I've dealt with racism. And her dad gets up there, this is racist, and my daughter, and racism, I've dealt with racism. What's that? Hold on, guys. My producer's in my ear. You know I hate when he does this. What's up? Yeah, that's right. That shit's racist. It was a black baby doll. Yeah, all the racial, noose, yeah. Who? So you mean one of the ones who, damn it. All right, man, let me know before I get on the video. Sorry about that, guys. That was my producer. It turns out that in that little race hoax, in that little Junior Juicy Smollett setup they had going there, that one of the black kids at the school was the one who started the whole thing. As is with all of these fucking stupid race hoaxes, it's either completely not true, or a black person who's claiming that the racism was against them was involved in the whole shit from the beginning. Like, was it a city council member or some shit You know what I'm talking about? It was pretty recently. She says, "Oh, somebody left a noose on my on my desk in my office." Comes to find out she's the one who tied the fucking noose and left it on her own desk. The shit is ridiculous. But that's why I'm thinking there's a racial angle, or there's gonna be one, because of who her dad is and how he's cried victim wolf before. Now, here's what I think. I think maybe the punishment was a little harsh to take her title and bar her from the next event. But as I said before, being a track family, her being in track for years, her father being in track for years, and he's her coach, they knew that shit was wrong. And if you know it's wrong, then you probably know the consequences. I don't know if they did it thinking, well, the rules say that they'll take your title and disqualify you, but they won't do that because she's a star. And, you know, I'm her dad. I'm a former star. They're not going to do it. Well, they did that shit. And I'll put a link in the description box to a video. You see her sitting there with her dad, and she's crying and she's upset. And she's like, even if they gave me the title back, I still missed out on the moment of celebrating, you know, being on the podium and all this other shit. But the hypocrisy is so thick, you can cut it with a fucking knife, because this is in California, aka California, in a state where I just did a story about a Ku Klux trans member stuffing and duct taping his penis and squeezing into a female's track uniform and blowing the girls out of the water. It wasn't even close. The next girl behind him, he beat her by 2 feet. He scored so many points that single-handedly he put his school until the next level, until the next competition. He's beating the brakes off of these girls out there. So in a state where you can have that, but he identifies as a girl and he's been taking Flintstone vitamins for 6 months, let him be a girl. In a state where you allow that to happen, how are you going to then come down and be so harsh on a girl who did something foolish, did something very braggadocious, but not as bad as taking another girl's opportunity? Not as bad as letting a boy compete against girls in a physical contest, which the boy is going to win every time. Are you fucking kidding me? So you're going to let boys play against girls and in some cases hurt them. In other cases, take their opportunities, take their titles, take their scholarships, crush their spirit because of all of the hard work and sacrifice not only them but their parents put into it. Just for you to come out there all fucking Wild Bill. What was the dude's name? Buffalo Bill? I'd fuck me. So you come out there clean shaven, because you know usually have a 5 o'clock shadow, but you want to look girly for the meet. So you got your fresh shave, still probably got a little bit of shaving cream on your earlobe, and go out there and fuck those girls' dreams up. That's okay. But if you use a fire extinguisher and a little stunt and a little celebration, we're gonna take all your shit. I think it is a little harsh, but you knew the rules. And especially as your dad being a coach, you should know that. You should know the rule book back to front and see to it that your athletes adhere to the rules and regulations. You didn't do that, and she paid the price. You decided to do this little funny shit. You're her coach. You, of all people involved, should know better, and you didn't. You failed her. You got her title taken away because you wanted to take part in some stupid look at me shit. That's what I think. But what do you think? Do you think they were too harsh? Do you think that California is brimming with hypocrisy by letting a boy crush girls, but then taking this girl's title and being so harsh on her? I'll meet you in the comments. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. I'm out.